The counterproductive cool guy. This is one that I particularly like. Don't imply that because you've achieved some milestone or because you have some affiliation or money, etc., that she should like you. It's obvious when a person thinks that because they have some quality or accomplishment that they're entitled to something. Don't assume that because you have money or a nice car or whatever that a woman should just roll on her back with her legs in the air. Right? My friend in the back of the room and I went out to Spago, this really nice restaurant in Beverly Hills, I don't know, probably a year ago or something. And that whole evening was just a complete freak show. I mean, it's just one thing after another. But we got seated at our table, and it was very interesting because on either side of us were couples that were out on dates. And the particular thing that was interesting about the couple that was to my left and his right was that it was this guy who was a newly christened attorney. He had just gotten out of school with his date. And she was cute and funny and what have you. And he had the whole shirt and tie and the attorney hair comb and the attorney glasses, and he's about 26. And he's going, ha 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 ha, isn't that comical? And talking about, yeah, I just graduated from whatever. And he's trying to do the whole voice and everything. And my friend and I were going, who is this tool? Jackass. And his date is sitting over there she's got that look on her face when women kind of go, I'm trapped until I'm done eating, And so we were playing with her and having fun and making subtle, comments to each other and with her that implied that we all got that he was being a jackass, but if he, of course, thought that he was even cooler because we were, recognizing what a cool attorney he was and where he went to school and Don't do that stuff, please. It's very, very not cool. The counterproductive cool guy. That guy was one of the biggest tools that's ever lived. Truly. Tool with a capital ool. Okay, cute names for her. I would say come up with a cute name that's both accurate and cute, and then add somewhat antagonistic. Okay, so you've got a little cute name for her. And I'll give you some starter names. Dork is my current favorite. Okay, Dork is good. I don't know why. I think that dork was a word that was used 20 years ago. It was really popular, and then it kind of went out of vogue for a while. And now it's retro cool. And it's good. Dork is a fantastic one. Call women dork a lot. Make it their nickname. It's great. And you go, you're such a dork. Brat. Brat's a great one too. The problem with brat is that it's becoming popular. Right? They make a doll now called Brats. Right? Women like to be known as a brat. It's kind of a high status thing. So you got to be careful, because if you say you're a brat, a woman might go, you know it. And then you're kind of like, whoa, uh-oh. That didn't work. Dude is a good one. Dude's fun because it makes it hi, we're friends and I'm messing with you. And dude is good, especially if she screws a lot of things up or slips up a lot or misspeaks. She'll blunder and you go, dude. Oh, dude. Dude, what's up? And then playa. Again, another kind of cool hip-hop one. An attractive woman, you can pretty much assume that a lot of men are pursuing her, right? And so calling her playa all the time is good. And flaya, which is a female playa, it's another good one. So if a woman is getting it, an attractive woman is having this happen all the time. So you're just looking for some clue. Like her phone rings and she looks at it and goes, and just disacknowledges it, and you go, you are such a player. The woman goes, what? Actually, you're a flaya, a female playa. I go, no, that was my sister. Yeah, whatever. All right. Calling a woman a player or a playa or a flaya, and then every time any reference comes up to some guy that's interested in her, referring to that guy as one of her hizzos, it's good. Yeah, biatch is a little old. A little unhip. It's good though. It's another good one. All right, so here's some nonverbal cocky and funny. Cocky comedy without words. All right, so if you do something that she laughs at, whatever it is, remember that and do it more. Do it later. Bring it back up at situations where there's tension. If she screws something up, do the thing that she laughed at last time, whatever it is. Does that make sense? Learn from the interaction the things that she laughs at and then keep doing them. So if you've got some funny gesture you do or some face or whatever and she laughs at it, remember that and do it. This is one that I like to do and I do constantly, which is push her into things as you're walking together. All right? And you want to do it a little bit early the first time. Okay, so you're walking down, the sidewalk and maybe there's a wall that juts out and she's going to run into it. So you know that in 20 feet you're going to come across this thing where she's going to have to move over in your direction. So as you get like maybe 15 feet away from it, you go this way and you touch your shoulder with hers as you're walking and you push real gently and she starts getting closer and she'll be like, and then you kind of like push your elbow out like obviously and then she'll push you and then you're just serious, and she's like, yeah, you were going to push me into that. And you're like, yeah. And then keep walking, all right? And then the next time you see something like a bush or something else, all right, this time do it like at 7 feet. Okay? So the next time you get it, then you grab her and and then she'll push against you. And then the final time you wait till you're 3 feet away, make sure she's not going to kill herself. And you get right up there and you kind of push her into it. And then it becomes fun. It's like a joke. All right? Now it's happening everywhere. Now she kind of knows to expect it. And then you got to start doing it intermittently, but this is a great one. This is one of those things that if you can start doing it and she laughs and gets into it with you, you got her. Right? You just got her because it's physical. You're doing something physical now. You got to talk about this whole thing, all right? Just go there. Thumb wrestler, squeeze her knee, tickle her, pull her hair, do the claw. You'll find that, I do this one all the time with whatever, friends, if a girl's a friend, not a girlfriend, date, whatever. While you're talking, if you do something that's funny, just reach over and, grab her right above the knee and give that zing. That's a great one. The little knee squeeze. Thumb wrestling is fantastic. Get your skills up because when you thumb wrestle, you want to win every time. So that you can win and then look at her and I just kicked your ass. I have dominated you publicly.
So what do you do when they cheat? I love to cheat, but they cheat first.
Yeah, I know. Teach some good cheating techniques. By the way, this is real fun. If you cheat to win, go ahead.
Well, I think I learned this one from you where you get the finger in there and do that.
Yeah.
I had a girl do that to me last night. She's practiced cheating,
That's good.
The other thing you can do is you can tag team your friend and have your friend come in and take over.
That's good.
Distract her and then come in,
Yeah. If you're wrestling against her and she's pretty good, you take this finger and while you're wrestling, you whip it out and you push it up above and you grab her thumb and you pull it down and then you hammer it real quick. You're like, yeah. And if she cheats, okay, you just get her to do something for you. You go, you have cheated, you lost by default, and you cheated, so it's a demerit, so you have to buy me a drink now. That's what I do.
Cool.
Yeah, get something for it, of course. This is another great one. When there's any kind of exchange of things, she's handing you something, you're handing her something. One of my favorites is when I'm at Starbucks, and I whip out my Starbucks card and I'm buying the drink. It's just natural for me, for whoever the barista is. When she reaches over to, or the register girl, she reaches over to grab it, I just hold on to it. And I pull a little bit and they always go. And then it's like, and then I usually do it again, of course. All right. And then, if somebody gives up and they go, no, I'm not taking it, then you're like, come on, just take it. It's right here, and then you can really antagonize them. Take it. And if there's somebody else there, you can go, well, can you get the manager here? Your employee isn't helping me buy a drink. Really get into it. And then the other one is when people go to hand you something, don't take it, but kind of make the motion that you are. And people get weirded out by it. It's like they go to hand you something and they're waiting to feel that you've grabbed it. And you like, they know that like you're touching it, but like it like interrupts their whole system, and they're like, "What the hell's going on?" So then when she goes to give it back to you, you reach up to take it, like put your hand like this maybe to get to take the card. You put your hand like this, and she'll like put it down like this and put it in between your fingers, but you don't grab it. And you're standing there talking to her, and like she doesn't know what to do with it, you know. And then like she'll go, and you're like, "What are you doing?" You know, and then like take it away from her and go, "What do you, stop that." So anytime there's an interaction or an exchange, you can always do fun stuff that someone's not expecting. And then whatever her response, you act like she's the dork. You just frame it like she's causing some kind of weird interaction. What are you doing? Act normal. Swatting her. Now this is fun. Have to say it? Stand up.
In addition to your pushing the walls, if you're walking through some place and she's following you, one thing to do is just all of a sudden just walk in a circle like 3 or 4 times and turn around and be like, "What are you doing?"
Disorienting people with physical things, very powerful. 'Cause they always go like, what just happened? Like their mind, there's like a blip in the matrix where they go, what? And then you can look at them like they're stupid. What are you doing? Stand up.
I have a good question.
Oh, a good one.
Yeah. Lots of times I'm with female friends and they already know me and they know how I am and they introduce me to their friends. So where does this cocky comedy come in that realm?
Immediately.
I get that.
Okay.
But do I do that to my female friends that I'm already friends with?
All females.
Thank you.
All females. All females. Practice with all of them. They all respond. Not all positively, but they all respond. Stand up.
I gotta add something. Is that?
Yeah.
I gotta add something to the pushing.
Yeah.
If you're walking next to a street and
Yeah.
you come with a busy intersection, you grab her by the arm and just tug her out, and you go, "You owe me big time. I just saved your life."
Yeah, you can do that at the subway. Grab her by the shoulders. Oh, I just saved you. All right, we got to keep going here. Swat her. Okay, swat. Now, you're not hitting her. You're not swatting her with your hand. Do it with something. Okay, so a napkin that's like wrapped up, so it's like a, tube, or a straw. Straws are one of my favorites. And if you do it right at the moment, right after you say something funny where you bust her balls and she's like, "I just can't," then you swat her after that. Like adds insult to injury, or maybe injury to insult, or anyway, and it just compounds the whole thing. And it's like the ultimate flirting thing to do. Swat her with something. Stop that. I don't know why I love to do this one, but it's just good fun. Every time you're at a meal, you make sure and you go, "Oh my God, look at that painting. What are you?" And then she'll like turn around, and then you reach over and like obviously like grab a piece of her food. Like do it slowly, especially if there are other people around. And then when she turns back around, like have it and be casually nibbling on it and be looking totally serious. And if she doesn't see, okay, she's like, "Oh yeah, I think that is a Rembrandt," and you're like, "Yeah, I mean, huh." And you keep drawing it out. And when she finally does realize what happened, then it's like extra funny. Taking the big piece. If you're sharing something, like cut like a little corner off, put it on her plate. "Here you go, dear. Wouldn't you like it that I serve you first?" All right, so what else can you think of, right? Sit down and brainstorm. What are some other funny things that you can throw in that are cocky comedy? Tools. Here are some tools. There are 2 smiles that I'd like you to think about. One of them you may have heard me talk about. It's the sly smile. Watch Pierce Brosnan and Bruce Willis and Warren Beatty and some of these guys. They have this way of smiling that's just sly and kind of like playerish. It almost seems like they're a little bit sneaky. There's something in there. It's very interesting, that sly smile. And learn to do it to break tension. When you say something and she thinks you were serious and she's like, I can't believe you just said that. You just smile at her. And then there's the I know something that you don't know smile. The I know something you don't know smile. And that's going to be different for each person. Okay? But do it just for a second. Just think about it and go, how would I be smiling at a woman if I knew something that she didn't know? Women have this incredible talent of, at some point in, an interaction, having something come up that they, become animated about. Right? So maybe the phone rings and, it's their mom. And they're like, Mom, you know what, I can't talk to you right now. Or maybe it might even be playful or something funny. But anytime a woman does a whiny tone of voice, play it back to her, but without the words. Okay? So when she goes, Mom, I can't talk to you right now. So as soon as she hangs up the phone, go, nah, Right? And especially if it's at something you've said that busted her balls and she's laughing at it. I can't believe you just said that. And you go, nah. It's good. Take the content out. Very fun. Interrupting repeatedly in sequence and then silence. Okay? Now this is a great fun one. Have you ever had a funny verbal interchange going with a woman where it's going, it's on, and then she interrupts you? And then you're like, don't interrupt me. And then she'll be like, oh. And then she'll start talking, and as soon as she starts talking, interrupt her with something. And then as soon as she stops talking, you stop talking. And then she'll start back up and immediately interrupt her again. And then she'll stop and you stop. And then just stop. And look at her like she's stupid. Okay? So interrupt her 3 times in a row. Good fun. Tool. Seem to go along with or comply with her request, then turn and twist it and ask for something in return. Okay, so if a woman asks you to do something, okay, one good response is, well, what's in it for me? And then ask for something ridiculous. I like to ask for things like rub my feet or do my dishes or give me a massage, just because it's, kind of that gender stereotype thing, that being the fake jerk. And again, you're not doing it to actually get the thing, you're just doing it for the humor of the situation. But this is a little more advanced form, which is she asks for something and you go, yeah, sure, no problem, I'd love to do that for you. Here, let me get started right now. And then as you get started, it's like Columbo. You turn back and you go, just one more thing. And if you already have started into it and then you start requesting the payback, it makes it really awkward and uncomfortable because now you've already started doing the thing and she knows that you expect this other thing, right? So if she says, will you hand me your purse? And you say, yeah, sure. You go pick it up and right before you get to her, you go, yeah, sure, I'll do this if you give me a 1-hour massage. As she's taking it and you go, and she's like, okay. So seem like you're going along with the request and you're complying and you're all good with it. And then you stop after you've kind of already gotten into the agreement that you're going to do it for. You go, as long as you do this other thing for me that's completely unreasonable and out of all proportion. Swipe great jokes from movies. Swipe great jokes from movies. If you collect great one-liners and comebacks from movies, you can increase your charm factor rapidly. Really, swipe them, take notes. The fantastic thing about movie lines, when you use one, you always sound charming. If she doesn't recognize the line, she'll just laugh and think that you're clever. Really, if she doesn't recognize it, she's just going to laugh because it's usually pretty good if you've got a good one, right? If she does recognize the line, she'll laugh because you called up a funny quote at just the right moment, right? Like you win or you win. Great movie quotes are great because they're classic. Even better, if she doesn't laugh, you can make fun of her and accuse her of being socially inept and out of touch with her culture because she hasn't seen the obviously important movie. Right? So if you use a line from a movie and she doesn't laugh, you can say, what's wrong with you? Don't you know where that's from? See? You win, or you win. Okay, so remember the mistakes, okay? Too much funny, you'll come across as being goofy and dorky. Too much cocky, you'll come across as an insecure jerk, just arrogant. Not actually being funny, okay? Thinking that you're funny, but you're not. Mistaking a put down for being cocky. Okay, mistaking a put down, in other words, being mean. Doing this to impress or to show off. Trying to show off by doing this. Physically looking for approval or a reaction after you make a comment or a gesture. Making it obvious that you care. Saying the thing or doing it and then like looking and seeing what the reaction is. A note, cocky comedy for attractive, physically confident men. If you're one of the guys who should thank his parents for getting together and giving you good genes, and you look like Brad Pitt or a sports model, then it's important that you remember something about cocky comedy. Women very often assume that tall, good-looking, physically confident men are arrogant and stuck on themselves. It's important to communicate that you're not one of these guys who's completely stuck on himself first, and then transition into the cocky comedy after. Remember, just because you need to ease in with the cocky comedy does not mean that you need to act like a wuss or communicate lower status, ever. Now, the other side of this is that if you know that you're a pretty average or below average looking guy, you can really use that to your advantage too. My friend Peter has taught me. He first started by, he would go out to the grocery store and, like with the girl that was bagging his groceries, he would like look at her and smile and say, "Hey, how you doing?" And she'd like say whatever, and he'd go, "I know you're shy. You can't believe that you were standing next to such an attractive man, can you?" Maybe you should give me one of those bags to put over my head so you're like not distracted by my beauty. Right? And then he goes into this whole thing about, I'm so tired of women just looking at me as like a sex object, like a piece of meat that they can use for their own pleasure. They don't care about me as a person. I mean, I have feelings. Okay? You can get a lot from that. Building trust. A critical component of conversation skills is building trust. There has to be some level of trust being built. In the bonus book, Bridges, that came along with Double Your Dating, my original book, you probably remember me mentioning that a key step with a woman is her feeling enough trust to be alone with you. Okay, feeling enough trust to be alone with you. This involves her feeling some level of comfort and the general feeling that you're not a creepy person that's going to try to take advantage of her as soon as you're alone. So you got to communicate that you're not going to do something weird when you're alone with her. One of the ways to do that is to just kind of kick back and chill, and if she reaches over and touches you, like push her hand away instead of like going, "Oh, hi, touch me some more." In order to do this, you're going to have some normal conversation at some point. I don't talk very much about the concept of normal conversation, all right, because it's a little bit complex. Guys ask, do I use cocky comedy all the time? Is there a point when I should stop and like have some normal conversation? And I tell guys to really turn it up. I tell them, don't do normal conversation, just turn up the cocky and funny, because I know that they won't listen to me. I know that most guys are incapable of not having boring conversation most of the time. So I say, no, don't ever do it. They go, okay, well, I have to do this other stuff more. Okay. The reality is you're going to have some normal conversation, a little bit here and there. So there are many opportunities to throw in a little bit of normal conversation. And that's what I suggest, is you throw it in a little bit. Use it as a spice again, not the central theme. And I prefer to do this when something in the environment naturally leads to it. Okay, something requires it. So let's say you're ordering a cup of coffee with her and you ask her what she wants in a serious way. Okay? And then you order like a normal person. So you're standing there and you're messing with her and the barista and you're having some fun, and then you go, okay, will you stop acting weird? And you say, you know what, give me a whatever, and then you say, what do you want? And you're normal for a minute. What do you want? She's like, oh, I want a, decaf, 1 pump of American. So I don't know. Okay, she'd like this. Good. Here's the money. Just for a sec, right? Maybe 30 seconds worth of it. Normal. You're walking down the sidewalk and you want to switch her to walking on the inside. Okay? So you're walking, you're talking, you're having fun, and you just walked up to the sidewalk and she's on the outside, and you want to be a gentleman and walk on the outside of the sidewalk. So you reach over and you take her elbow, and you, as you're walking, you gently switch her over here to this side, and you just say, here. And you act normal for a moment in the middle of all that craziness. If she's overtly insistent about asking you serious questions, okay, she just insists. Say, okay, I'm 27, I was born in Ohio, I went to college at NYU, I got a 3.8 GPA, now I have a great job, my own bills, I love my mom, I go to the dentist, and I buy nice shoes. Any other questions? Right? So take all the questions that she asked you that were the ones you avoided and evaded, and put them all together and answer them all like rapid fire. Boom. And then say, any other questions? And she'll be like, oh. But now you answered them. Go, you can't accuse me of evading you anymore. Okay, I've got a special guest for you. Actually, I have several of them. You've heard this gentleman in my Interviews with Dating Gurus program. Remember the fantastic double interview that just went so long? I've gotten tremendous feedback. I'd like you to welcome up my friend Craig.
All right. How's everybody doing? I'm doing fantastic, thanks. Okay, I just wanted to share a few things with you that you guys can do to spice up your cocky comedy, and I'm just going to throw them out rapid fire in random order. One thing I really like to do if I'm messing with a cashier is give them a weird amount of change. Like, if something's like $20.06 and you don't want to, break that dollar because you don't want the 90 cents, you'll give them, instead of giving them 21, you'll actually give them the 20 and the 6 cents, If you give them a random amount, like give them a 20 and like 72 cents, they'll just stare at it and it'll literally freeze them for a few minutes. And, you can insert a funny comment there or, sometimes I just like to watch. Another thing I like to do when I first meet someone, this is pretty funny. Well, maybe it's not a good idea when you first meet someone unless, you kind of have the idea that they're going to, have a good sense of humor. But anyways, when you go to shake their hand, you go, hey, how's it going? Then you pull it towards your crotch and go, whoa, 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 and act like she's trying to grab you. One of my personal favorites. Also, I got some funny stuff if she gives you a compliment on your clothes. Like if she says, hey, those are nice pants. I say, thanks, you should see me with them off. I've got a great answering machine message that almost always gets a return phone call. And what I do is I call the woman and I say, hey, Jen, it's Craig. Give me a call back as soon as you can. I think you've got a confession to make. And so, of course, they call back instantly. And, what's the problem? And I say, what were you doing last night? Like, well, I was out with friends. No, seriously, tell me, where were you? Oh, I was doing it. Okay, because, I could have sworn I saw you. Like, what do you mean? Well, I was taking a shower, and I went in my room when I was changing, and I looked out the window, and I could have swore there was a girl that looked just like you up in the tree trying to catch a look while I was changing, and don't BS me, I know it was you. Oh, another thing I like to do, if a girl does something like bumps into me or, something that she should apologize for, I'll say, okay, you owe me. And I'll go like this. And she'll go in to kiss my cheek. And I'll be like, whoa, what are you doing? I meant you owe me an apology, like pretend I was pointing my ear. That's a good one. Another great thing to do when you make eye contact with a girl at a bar, a nightclub, or anywhere else is give her the Dr. Evil, pinky. That always gets a great response. I mean, you could literally go around a bar or nightclub and do that to girls all night, and you wouldn't have to think up of any pickup lines. It works. Another thing I like to do, if I'm walking down the street with a girl, I'll be like, hey, let's go in here. And we'll go to the place, and I'll open the door for her, and then when she gets in, I'll shut the door and run away. That's a good one. You can also do the same thing if you're walking into a place, you open the door like you're going to open it for her, then step in front of her and close the door behind you so she's stuck outside. Another good one, if you're talking to a woman on the phone and it's kind of getting near the end of the conversation, you can be like, oh, I forgot to tell you, check this out. She's like, what? Hang up on her. Then she'll call you right back. She's like, what were you going to tell me? Oh, we must have got this. You're not going to believe this. Hang up on her. It's great. And last but certainly not least, one of my personal favorites, when, and this works best on really, really hot, stuck-up women, if you're getting introduced to one of them and you're at a bar or nightclub or anywhere else, and you have an empty drink or a drink that you just finished in your hand, when they go to shake your hand, go like this and kind of stick your fingers out like, but still have the glass. Let me see if I can get a demo. Kind of have the glass like this, and go to shake their hand. And then when they go to shake your hand, put the empty glass in their hand and run away. And those be stuck holding your empty drink glass. And they usually chase you around the bar with it, That's a funny one. And I'm going to end on a quick true story along those lines. A few years ago, I got invited to a sorority dance. It was kind of a blind date type of thing, and I didn't know this girl very well. And we went. We ended up having a good time. And I don't know if you guys have dated too many sorority women, but they're really serious about their, whole sorority deal. And she's like, "Oh, I want you to meet the president. The president of the sorority is here, and the vice president." And these girls are like really into it. That's their life. They probably have alpha phi tattoos or whatever, And we were at, it was like a restaurant or something like that, and there was all these fruit baskets lying around. And one of them had a zucchini in it. And I went and I grabbed the zucchini and I put it in my pocket. Like, I didn't know why. I just was going to do something with it later. And she's like, oh, you got to meet the president. You got to meet the president, So I'm like, all right. So I'll go over. And she's like, here's the president. And the president's like at the table, looking all like pompous and professional, and she's like, yeah, this is my date, Craig. And I'm like, hi. And I went and I handed her the zucchini. And I was going to shake her hand. And my date didn't think that was very funny. And neither did the president, but I sure as hell did. And that's it. Thanks, guys.
Give him a round of applause. It's a great little toolbox full of stuff. From now on, I hate change. I can't deal with it at all. I hate it. I don't even take it. I just leave it on the counter when I get it. It's like I think it should be abolished from the monetary system. I'm going to carry it from now on. And I'm going to carry a lot of pennies. There's probably a system you could come up with where if it's an even number, you make sure and give her an odd number of change. And if it's an odd number, you make sure and give her an even, so it's always really off.
This morning you've been talking a lot about status, and I was thinking about it over lunch. And I get this is more of a question directed at the inner game. When we're talking about status, we're talking about status inwardly, right? Not about status over anyone else. Because even in the comedy book one of the books that you recommend, one of the first things he talks about is kind of that theory of like better than X.
Yeah.
What is that?
Well, this is a deeper question, and I don't mean to push one of my other products on you, but you need to get my mastery program and really get into the discussion that I talk about status, and there I talk about it a lot. This is an interesting topic because humans organize themselves into hierarchies, into status hierarchies. Okay, a lot of comedians make fun of themselves, and a lot of their stuff is self-deprecating humor and "you're better than me" humor, and that's not going to really work as well when you're attracting women. So you got to really pay attention to that. Just remember, high status, attraction. They're connected. And high status means higher than her. Yeah. Stand up. You ready to go over there, my man?
During lunch, we went over to 34th. I came back, and as I was coming back on 34th and 7th, there was a really good-looking blonde walking across the street right toward me.
Yeah.
She looked at me in the eye, and I kept on looking straight ahead. And we both, as we got closer, kept on looking straight. It's like I felt she was waiting for me to look aside, and I kept on looking straight. And as we just passed that close, we both smiled. It was great.
Yeah. Give him a round of applause. That's yeah. Excellent. That doesn't happen to her very often. The gentleman I'm about to introduce you to is part of the Real Social Dynamics crew. These are the guys that you meet at a lot of my programs. These guys take guys out at night in groups, show them how to approach and meet women live in real time. And I recommend you do one of their programs. They do them all over the country and all over the world, and they're fantastic. They're really the cutting edge in this kind of training. They're really the best. And the gentleman I'm about to introduce you to, he goes by the handle of 26, and he'll tell you the story about why his name's 26. And you may have heard him on my interview series, okay? So I'll give a round of applause to my buddy 26.
Hey guys, 26, I'll start off with that first. My name's 26 because I was a virgin until I was 26 years old. Not that I'm proud of that or anything, but yeah, I was a virgin until I was 26. Actually, 2 years ago at this time, I never even kissed a girl on the lips. I never even held a girl's hand. So it was kind of like, yeah, it's hardcore. It was pretty. I used to joke about it with my friends all the time, like, you know, we're losers and we're a bunch of geeks. And it was like we all had like, you know, we all like did self-deprecating humor, and I did the most because I was the least of everybody, right? I was like, so what I did is I used a lot of self-deprecating humor. I thought it was funny, but overall, I think it kind of hurt me overall. So I'm going to go over some stuff, since I did a lot of goofing around with my friends for my whole life, that I like to use when I'm talking to girls. So you can kind of think about it. Use it if you like. If you don't want, that's cool too. But one of the favorite things I like to do is I like to make girls think I'm a sex weirdo. Like I'm really into weird sex shit, like really weird stuff. So what I'll do is I'll go to a girl. I go, hey, do you like pain? And they'll be, and immediately they'll think, wow, he must like pain, and he must be a sex weirdo, right? Like some kind of sex dynamo. And I'm not a sex dynamo, right? But so what I'll do is I'll go and I'll get their arm and I'll squeeze it just a little bit, right? And they'll be like, is that good? And then they'll be like, yeah. I go, can you take more? And I'll squeeze it a little bit more. Can you take more? And I'll squeeze a little bit more, right? And they'll always try to take the maximum that they can take, right? So that's something I like to do. And then I go to them, I go, give it to me, and they squeeze me really hard. But what I like to do is I like to make them think I'm a sex dynamo, but I'm not. But and you don't need to be a sex dynamo. The thing is, this might be the least thing they want to know about you. This might be, you know, say they don't like you at all, but they think in the back of their head, well, he might be good at sex, right? So they have nothing to do at the end of the night. They'll go for you, and you might suck at sex. So right, you might be like with them in bed, right? And you're like, right? You might suck like big time, right? But the thing is, hey man, you're getting practice, right? If you're a virgin, now you got some, right? Now you're a sex. You learn to be a sex dynamo through this way. That's how I do it, man. I sucked at sex my first day. I was just like, right? I couldn't even blow it for like a year, man. But another thing I like to do too is I like to pull girls' hair while I'm talking to them, right? And not like, you know, pull it like a dick, right? There's my friend Mystery taught me this. It's like there's roots at the back of your head, right? And if you pull them, guys with long hair, I can't really do it anymore because my hair is not long, but it feels good if you pull it at the back. It feels really like awesome. And if you do it to a girl, usually guys do it when they're with girls and they're having sex with them or whatever. And if you do it to girls the right way, when you're talking to them, like if they're saying something bad, you go, don't be bad. And you pull their hair back just a little bit like that. It kind of gives a preview to sex. It kind of gives you a preview of what you're like. If you're willing to do that while you're talking to them, when you know in the club or wherever, and you're really aloof about it, and you really don't care, they kind of give an idea of little things, little cues. Because if you're just about to do that in the club, what the fuck are you going to be doing in the bedroom, right? But the thing is, when I first started doing this stuff, right, I'm not really like that in the bedroom, right? So you kind of modify your style and stuff, all right? So again, it's a sex dynamo, sex weirdo kind of thing, right? And sex weirdos are good, so you want to be a sex weirdo, in my opinion, at least. Another thing I like to do too is what was the other thing I wanted to do? Oh yeah, I like the good thing to do is you can go to fetish nightclubs. Now I'm not saying, you know, hang out at all the fetish nightclubs, but they're good places to get an idea of how people dress, of sex dynamos that are in action, doing stuff in front of you for real, right? So, and it kind of gives an idea. If you go to a girl, you go, hey, you know what, me and you, we're gonna go to a fetish nightclub, right? And they'll be like, okay. Right? What this does is it gives them an idea. It's like, wow, what does this guy do in his spare time? He goes to fetish clubs. I haven't met a guy like this, right? Doesn't mean you had to have been to one. Go to one and say you go to fetish nightclubs, and you know, bring her to one. It's interesting. It's an interesting date because you know, gives you more ideas of what can happen. Another thing I like to do is when I'm talking to girls is if they say anything I don't like or something like that, or something that's opposed my opinion, I pretend I'm gonna hit them. I'll be like, like that. Pretend like you're gonna strike them, right? Like just like if they're just like talking, they're like, you know, they goes into your opinion, you just go, or you just go like this, you cock your fist back. It's just a little bit of a joke. It's like fun. So, you know, little things like this will help you out. They will. Again, guys, I mean, calibrate, right, the situation. If the situation looks like it's not going to be, good if you cock your fist back because you're not really attracting her or anything, then you might not want to do a little thing like that. You might not want to do that. Another thing I like to do is when I'm talking to girls in clubs is that there's music going on a lot, right? And the environment's kind of cool. So what I like to do is like performance art. Have you guys ever heard of that? Where like music's going on and you just kind of like, you go like this 1 second and you just kind of like, you just act like a fucking weirdo, man, for like, right? But the thing is, you gotta be congruent with it. It's not just like, oh, you go act like a weirdo. You have to have a frame of not, really like, this is what you do. You don't care. Every guy you've seen up here today has a frame of, he really doesn't care. He's just gonna say his own thing. I remember all summer with all the guys in RSD, we'd be like just doing performance art. Music would be playing in the background, and I'd be like running, and some guy pretending like he's gonna like try to grab me and, do some gay stuff with me. I'd be like, we just joking around constantly. The point is, though, we're joking around all the time, right? So then I bring that joking around when I'm out with girls, and it comes naturally because that's what I do. That's what I do. When I was hanging out with my roommate in Toronto, I swear to God, I never had a normal relationship with a guy. Because all we did, we were in character 90% of the time. We never even talked normal. Now, I'm not saying go around and, not be yourself all the time, but we'd joke around and be like, hello, how you doing, Greg? And I'd be like, my name is Barry. All the time. It's like constant. So I mean, like I'm around a situation like this, surrounding myself around guys who are joking around. And the thing is, like, it's fun to be around guys who are joking around all the time, right? Because the more you're around those kind of guys, I mean, the more you kind of just pick it up, right? I was at Project Hollywood Mansion all summer, and I'm surrounding myself around guys who are good with girls all summer. I mean, it's inevitable. You're around guys with computers, and you'll be good with computers, piano, blah, blah, blah. It makes sense. Another thing I like to do, going back to clubs and music, is whenever there's like a song playing, and you're talking to a girl, no matter what the conversation is, if you dig the song, just start like singing to it. Go, yeah, never gonna, yeah, bring it down, yeah, bring it down. Just go right into it, right? Don't worry about like what she's gonna say, because as long as you go into it, just have fun. It doesn't matter. It's just it's a kind of natural flow. During mastery, I talked about using your cell phone as a prop. I forgot to mention, like, what I like to do is I like to take this guy, and I like to just like, I got a new cell phone today. Because if you don't have a conversation to talk about, I just like to act weird, just say whatever was on my mind. So I got a new cell phone today. And I'll be like, he's my little baby, and he's really cool, and he's nice. And then I'll make him go on my shoulder, and I'll be like, hi, how you doing? Hey, you're so cool. And I'll make it jump on her shoulder, like, and I'll be like, hi, how you doing? I love you. You have the coolest hair. I want to kiss you. Right? And a lot of times we'll like try to swat you off, and then you make it jump on the other side. You go flip over onto the other shoulder, and you go, hi, I hope you didn't try to swat me off. Right? And the point is here, I'm making sound effects during making it jump and all that shit. That's the point, right? You add sound effects, add weird words, add emphasis to your words, right? Take out her cell phone and go, hi, I feel strange feelings. And then go, can I see your cell phone? And go, and then stare off into the corner or something like that. And go, hey, yeah. Right? And then, while I'm doing this, guys, I'm not doing this the whole time, by the way. I'm like, I'm talking normal in between. They're seeing lots of different contrasts. They're like, what the fuck's going on here? This is weird. But they when I'm talking normal, they dig it too. Another thing I like to do is any objects to French kiss. I mentioned that. Anything, right? Pretend it's you and her French kissing, or if you see a weirdo guy in the corner, right? Take two things and make her go, this is you and this is that guy over there with the plaid shirt, and make them start going, hardcore kissing, weird stuff, right? Again, like what we were talking about all day today is things that make you laugh. Don't worry about making her laugh so much, because if your frame's so involved in yourself laughing, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have a good time, and she's going to see you having a good time. You can have a good time on your own, and that's attractive, right? A lot of this stuff, it's a bit weird. That's, is it really funny? I don't know if it's funny or not, right? But it doesn't matter because you're having a good time doing it. There's also scenarios where you have club scenarios where they're very loud, very hard to speak in the clubs. What you want to do in these places is, you're like, I can't say anything in here. It's too loud. And I'm talking about these super loud clubs, man, where it's just like, it's so loud, you don't know how to open. So what you do is you walk up to the girls, because if you go up to the girls and go, hey, what's going on? And I need an opinion on something, they're more like, music's playing up, and they're like, yeah, whatever, man. And they're just dancing, right? You just go up to them and you kind of quizzically look at them. You point at them like this. Kind of like you're judging them, like you're kind of scrutinizing. You're like, and you kind of walk towards them, you look at them, or you're like walking by and you look at them, and what they do is they lock on you, and they're kind of like, this is kind of weird. Then you walk up to them, and you grab their hand, and you can spin them. I learned that from Craig, wherever he is, if he's in here. And just really small things, right? Boom, boom. I'm looking at them quizzically. I'm walking up to them, like really like kind of sly, right? Grab them, spin them, dance with them a bit. These are the things you can do in loud clubs to kind of be a little bit cute, kind of a little bit funny, right? And not get into conversation, because it's not going to work if you go into a big conversation right off the bat. You haven't invested anything, right? You have to show some personality first. What you could do too is if I have a girlfriend or something like that, or a girl I'm in the club with and I just met her, and I'll bring her over to all my friends, and I'll walk her over and I'll be like, this is my new friend, Krista. Right? Meet Krista, kind of mocking, right? And then everyone's like, hey, what's going on, Krista? And she kind of feels like, oh man, right? But the thing is, like, you want to set this frame early. You don't want to just come out with one of these things just like once, here and there. You want to set these things up early. You want to set up the idea that you're this kind of guy. If you're a very low-tone guy, use this once in a while, right? If your guy likes to use comedy a lot, then use it, intermittently. It's kind of like, don't change your whole lifestyle. Don't change the way you are. Try to be Mr. Funny Bones right off the bat, all right? So it's just a little tip there. What I like to do too is I like to give love letters to girls that I barely know, right? So, like say there's a girl and she's sitting down at a table. I've done this a few times, especially in Mel's, and they're sitting over there, and I'll write up a love letter. I'll write down, be like, hi, I noticed you sitting over there, and you have the most beautiful stare. You are my morning dove, an angel of the night. I will be with you with delight forever. Then I'll go over and I'll leave on our table, and I'll just stare there and kind of go like this. and I'll be like, and I'll just stare at her, and I'll be like, oh. And then she'll look over, and they'll read it, and they'll always friggin' laugh, man. It's inevitable, right? They'll be like, oh, it's so cute. They'll even think it's actually cute and real sometime, which is weird, right? You can do this at any right? But the thing is, though, if you're really cool about it, they're like, okay, well, the guy's a cool guy. They can kick the kind of vibe, right? So you can do this any scenario, right? You can talk to a girl. It can be the first thing you do to her. I know a lot of guys, I read this a long time ago. I was like, I can't do things like that. But it's like, you can. Over time, you just do it, and it's like, it works, man. Anytime you're talking to a girl, just go, I'm going to write you a love letter right now in the middle of the interaction. Just write it to her. This is things that she can bring home with her, right? Put it in her pocket and look back later on that day and go, laugh again and remind you. And now it's linked to you, right? You have this another thing linked to you. So, she thinks of you later on. It's something different from what most of the guys do. I don't know. It's just another thing.
So our next guest is another person you heard in my interviews with dating gurus recently. Very entertaining interview. And he's going to come up here and teach you a little bit of cocky comedy. Get out a clean sheet of paper and get ready to pay attention. And welcome up my friend Will.
How's everybody doing? Yeah. How about you? I'm doing good. All right. Because someone asked me about some more definitions and translations I had, I'm going to go over a couple of them with you. So this might apply to conversations you have with guys and girls. This is what they're really saying. All right, love at first sight. This is what occurs when two extremely horny but not entirely choosy people meet. Attraction, the act of associating horniness with a particular person. Usually when a woman says you're affectionate, it means you're possessive. If you hear she's athletic, that's usually a polite way of saying she might be flat-chested. Average looking usually means ugly. Now, all right, ever been in a situation where one of your boys is describing a girl that they're either talking to or they're interested in, and you're trying to find out what kind, how she look? And like, well, how does she look? You're like, man, she lives up in the Upper East Side. She got a nice apartment. But how does she look? She drives a BMW. Like, how does she look? She can cook her ass off. Like, okay, never mind. She's usually ugly. Okay. When she says communication is important, that probably means you'll never get a word in edgewise. Free spirit, she's probably a substance abuser. Usually when you hear she looks younger, it means probably if you had a lower wattage light bulb in the room. You hear she loves to travel, that's probably if you're paying. All right. If you hear a woman's old-fashioned, that usually means lights out, missionary position only. Okay. One thing you should always do, you should always answer why questions with a yes/no answer. Why don't you ever call me? Yes. Now, I'm kind of the playful type as far as cocky goes, comedy. So I like to basically mess with people. I'm the guy who starts stuff and then runs to the other side of the club. Or let's say I'll push a girl in the back and then leave, and then she'll look at you, and you'll be the one she'll smack. So, okay. Now, as far as how you respond to, never be totally, actually never give a direct answer. Basically give them something off the wall that they can't do anything with. For instance, if I get a girl mad at me for whatever reason, imagine that, right? I'll respond back with, well, you want a hug? A lot of times situations happen to me where I would have to be actually stupid or comical or in the club. So I'm going to stay with that venue. For instance, I never tell them when my age, no matter how many times they ask. If they ask me, how many girlfriends am I dealing with or am I sleeping with, my standard answer is thousands. Matter of fact, I got one coming right now. When they ask me how old I am, I say I'm too old to answer that question. They ask me how long am I going to be gone, I say pretty much the whole time. They ask me where I'm going to be, I'll be where I'm at. They asked me, how come you didn't call me last night? I said, because I couldn't get off the phone with your mother. Never, ever answer a girl. Well, if she says she wants to tell you, she wants you to tell her that you miss her, never do that. Because one, it means that the chase is over, so there's no need for her to even try and come after you anymore. So when a girl says, how come you don't ever tell me I miss you? I say, probably because I don't yet. Now, I do compliment women. My idea of a compliment is, you're pretty cute for a short girl. That's a compliment. Or, those are nice shoes. Do they come in women's sizes? Usually, if a woman's looking at me, I make her buy me a drink. I mean, it's okay if it's the other way around, right? Guys, you got to buy girls drinks, right? Why shouldn't the women buy you guys drinks? Your attention is just as valuable. So I always let them know that the drink has a time limit. That, thank you, but this does not mean I'm going to spend my entire night with you just because you bought me something to drink. I always thank them. I'm the type of person when I go into the club, just like something Craig would do, I always thank them for coming to the venue. Like, for instance, I walk up to hey, thank you guys for coming to Etoile. I appreciate that. Then I walk away. Like I'm the owner, right? Always engage their friends, with something like, is your girlfriend always a pain in the ass? Or I will talk about people in front of them. For instance, I'm on an elevator. There's maybe 6 people in the elevator. I'm on my cell phone talking to a girl. And I'm sitting right now I'm in an elevator. It's me and 6 other people. Just 3 girls and 3 guys. Actually, no, only one of the girls is cute, though. Right. I don't even think the guys are with them. They standing behind me doing something. Right. The one guy got on his suit, though, a little too short. But, so I will talk about people in front of them. No qualms about that. Talk about people in third party or third person. For instance, it's pretty good to talk about someone while they're standing right next to you. but you're talking to someone else. For instance, the other day we was at a spot, and I had this girl with me, and I'm talking to one of my friends about it. I'm like, you know what? She's a really great person. I really like her a lot. I only have one problem with her. And she's like, I'm like, she's a cool person, but when she goes to the bathroom, she pees standing up. Basically, it all comes down to being yourself. Now, some people are more natural at being funnier than others, and you have to recognize that. There's nothing worse than a guy who's not that funny trying to be funny. We all talk about you behind your backs. Some people are better at telling sarcastic stories. Some people are better at just telling jokes. Like, for instance, after I meet a girl, I'm basically just telling her jokes because that's more my forte, like one-liners, jokes. I'm not big on the whole story thing. So you can even engage this in a club. If you can get a woman to laugh, it'll open her up to be more comfortable with you, and it'll probably open up other avenues. So that's important. Realize where you are. And there's books you can read to get better at it. There's comedy writing books. Read funny stories and then reiterate them in your own way. Listen to comedians. Use the stories that they use or some of the jokes that they say, just so you can get her to laugh. And that's pretty much it.